October has delivered Art the Clown, a Christmas miracle. So how did an indie underdog slaughter a major DC Comics sequel at the box office? We reached out to our expert, Ryan Scott of Slash Film, to learn more. The original Terrifier has only grossed a few $100,000 since its debut in 2016, even accounting for its multiple re-releases. Terrifier 2, on the other hand, cemented the series' future viability with an $800,000 opening and a total worldwide haul of $15 million. Given that Terrifier 3 has already passed the total worldwide gross of its predecessor in the US alone, it's safe to say Art the Clown's reign is only getting started. According to Ryan Scott, Terrifier has become a true known commodity in the horror world over the last 2 years. Terrifier 2 was one of the most shocking success stories of 2022, financially speaking. Both the film's content and its underdog success story have grown the series' cult following, and even helped push it toward the mainstream. Scott points out, Art the Clown is everywhere now. Even people who don't watch these movies have seen him. Some analysts may have underestimated Terrifier 3, given its lack of conventional star power, but Art the Clown's growing prominence as a horror and Halloween icon has made him a recognizable and apparently bankable leading man.
By dressing like Santa Claus, silent psycho killer Art the Clown adds a new flavor to his immaculate brand of slasher mutilation.
For a film in this specific subgenre, this is arguably more important than attaching a big name to the marquee. Scott notes that, when it comes to horror, particularly slashers, the villain can be the star. In the case of the Terrifier franchise, Art the Clown has become the star. People want to see what he's going to do next, even if it's something maybe they wish they hadn't seen. That's the magic sauce here. Box office expectations for Terrifier 3 weren't crazy high with Joker 2 opening just a week before, but sometimes things fall into place, as Scott explained. With Joker, Folie à Deux opening a week earlier and straight-up bombing, Terrifier 3 ended up in a power position. It's just purely circumstantial, and for the filmmakers, downright serendipitous. Nobody could have predicted this.
Do you still think you're a star?
Scott is far from the only box office expert noticing how this battle of the clowns has shaken out in favor of the underdog. Less than 2 weeks into its theatrical run, Joker 2 stands to lose as much as $200 million. Enter Terrifier 3. According to box office analytics company PostTrack, 52% of those that saw the threequel instead of Joker did so because they like horror. The Joker sequel awkwardly straddled the line between horror thriller, musical, and superhero flick, failing to capture the magic of any genre even in its marketing.
I got the sneaking suspicion that we're not giving the people what they want.
Terrifier 3, on the other hand, is out there and unapologetic about its identity. The brand is blood. And then there are the reviews. Terrifier 3 has been warmly received by critics and audiences alike. It holds a Rotten Tomatoes critic score of 76% and is certified fresh. Meanwhile, the newly christened Popcorn Meter, formerly the audience score, deemed it certified hot at 89%. The scores indicate that the film maintains the narrative quality of the previous installment, but let's not kid ourselves. Terrifier fans are less interested in the film's dramatic merits and more interested in how gross, gory, and scary it is.
Who's this Santa? He's scaring my kid.
In a glowing 4 out of 5-star review for The Guardian, Catherine Bray wrote, "The number of horror films that promise to sicken your soul and shrivel your stomach is enormous, but the proportion that actually do so, particularly for veteran horror watchers, is small. I'm pleased to report that Terrifier 3 is genuinely gruesome." That's a ringing endorsement for Terrifier fans, and Kim Newman of Empire doubled down, although it was more of a warning, writing, "Managing to go further over the top and pushing more offense buttons than you think possible. Terrifier 3 is recommended only for the strong of stomach and hard of heart." In our own mixed review of the film, Looper hailed it as the biggest, grossest art attack yet. A monster budget can be the death of a film that pulls in opening box office numbers far outmatching the likes of Terrifier 3. But the little slasher that could is set to be one of the year's biggest success stories, not because of its top opening spot or $18 million haul, but because it was made on such a tiny budget, costing only $2 million to produce. Terrifier 3 has almost certainly managed to make back the entirety of what was invested into its production, and is likely generating favorable dividends for anyone smart enough to take a financial stake in it. Add to that the efficiency with which Terrifier 3 managed to find and attract its target audience. Even with 1/100th of the Joker 2 marketing budget at its disposal, the film didn't buy any national ads, and instead focused on a social media-driven campaign, the likes of which have elevated such lower-budget features as Godzilla Minus One. And for real fans, Terrifier 3 cleverly partnered with Venmo to set up an Art the Clown hotline, which would creepily trigger Art to send callers a penny via the app. The stunt worked, leading to TikTok and social posts about users' experiences calling the number for themselves. Low cost, high return. Let's face it, few of us are brave enough to watch Art rampage on our own, and why would we want to?
We both know this isn't over.
Apparently, a lot of young moviegoers felt the same way. According to PostTrack, 49% of audience members under the age of 25 showed up with at least one other person. A third were there as a part of a group of 3 or more. And more than half of moviegoers surveyed by PostTrack said they'd encourage their friends to see the film in theaters rather than wait for it on streaming. Clearly, in the angry clown war of 2024, Art the Clown has emerged the people's champion, as he and director Damien Leone stare down the blood-soaked path to Terrifier 4. They can take heart that their lucky streak has yet to run out, thanks in large part to shrewd spending, chilling characters, and, most of all, the fans that have supported this franchise every step of the way.